H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys supports 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus. One-time pay, lifetime access to live classes and videos. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For free demo class, visit h2kinfosys.com.
Here also we can define our create our variables. Okay, that we will see when we go into object-oriented programming. For now, we are creating within a method. See this? Within a method, main method, right? So whenever you are creating within a method, we need to assign a value. Okay, so good practice is assign a value. If you don't assign also, what happens? We need to assign later. See, if you're not assigning here, you need to assign later any value. My bool equal to true, for example. This is as equivalent to you're assigning true here. Both are same. In this case, this is not required. Okay, so for that reason, normally we assign a variable with a value whatever we want to have. This value is called default value. That means by default that value will get automatically. So this is how we can create a boolean. Remember, you may ask me one thing. Okay, my name of the variable is my bool. How come it fit in only one bit? Remember, your name doesn't matter. What it matters is what is the data type. So in memory, it occupies only one bit. And that memory location will be given to this guy, this for this label. Saying that, okay, whenever you use my bool, it automatically goes to the corresponding memory location of the memory and it will fetch the value. So that is how internally it happens. We no need to care how does it internally does. Okay, that is the boolean data type. Next, let's come to the integer data types. Integer data types, there are four ways we discussed, right? One is byte, short, int, long. Why 4 required? Okay, reason being is normally integer varies from minus values to plus values, right, including 0. For example, you may store a minus value, you may store a 0, you may store a plus value also. But the thing is, the value range is very huge in integers, very huge. For example, let's say I want to store a billion value, or I want to store only 10, or I want to store only 1. The problem here is, if you store a value which is least value, for example 0, 1, 2, 3 like that, you don't require memory whatever requires for a billion value for example. In that case, if you give same data type with all the memory which is fixed for all integers, you are unnecessarily wasting your memory for the values which doesn't require. For example, assume that integer value also assigned some 8 bytes by computer by default for all 8 bytes. For all integers, 8 bytes. 8 bytes actually can store trillion of value from minus trillion somewhere to plus trillion also. 8 bytes can store that much. Okay. Now tell me, if I want to store 1, 2 there, what happens is it hardly requires only 1 byte in that 8 bytes to store one value. Example 1, a equal to 1, let's say. To store 1 in our memory, it requires only 1 byte, 8 bits. But if you assign it to 8 bytes, what happens is another 7 bytes of memory go waste, isn't it? It reserved, but it won't be used, because to store 1, I just require 1 byte of memory in computer. So that is the reason what happens is they have divided into 4 data types. All are integer values only, but 4 data types. Why it is based on the value you want, you choose which data type you want so that memory will be saved. Now let's see. First one, byte data type. The name itself says byte means it actually needs only 1 byte of data. 1 byte of data means 8 bits. Okay, 8 bits. and its value range is minus 128 to plus 127 including 0. So if I want to store 0, I no need to look for long, which requires 8 bytes. 0 can be stored in 1 byte only. So I don't need to waste another 7 bytes of memory if I use 1 or 0 to store in a long type variable. So that is the reason, to save memory based on the value range we have, we will decide what type of data type we use. Simple. Okay, that is why we have 4 data types for the same type of data, which is integer type of data. Okay, so now byte is only 1 byte of memory it occupies, but its value range is minus 128 to plus 127 including 0. But what happens if I want to store beyond 127 in byte? It cannot store. It may store in a recursive way. So you might see if you give minus plus 128 to that, it may take as minus 128. Recursively it does. Okay, so whenever you have any value which has a value range between minus 128 to plus 127, define that as byte only. Okay, for example, very simple, I'm going to loop for 10 students to display their data. So if I want to loop for 10 students, what is the minimum value I require? What is the maximum value I require? Minimum value is 1, maximum value is 10, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
In that case, do I need to require a data type which is more than a byte?
No.
I don't, right? So in that case, we could use byte data. Simple. Okay, so that is the one. So next one is byte. Okay, this also turns to purple. That's a result word. For example, I call this as my byte equal to. So minus 128 to plus 127. Whatever be the data you want, you can store. For example, I will say 15. That's it. Okay, so that is the byte data type. And then next to byte is multiply byte by twice into 2. So you get next one, short. Short data type is double the size of byte, which is 2 bytes, which is 16 bit. 1 byte is 8 bit, so it is 16 bit. Now, because it has more memory to it, so its range is increased. So now this can store minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Okay, this is also can be calculated in a scientific way. How it is 2 power 16 minus 2 power 16 2 plus 2 power 16 minus 1. So even you do that, it will, you get the same. Where this 16 comes is number of bits. Here also same, 2 power 8 minus 2 power 8, which is 128, to 2 power 8 minus 1, 128 minus 1, 127. Why minus 1 required is 0 will be there in between. So for 0, we need to place 1. So that is why minus 1 it comes. So that is the reason here also same, minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. Okay, 767 only, because 0 will be there in between, including 0. So its default value also 0. So that is how it is. So its range is this. That means if I want to store 128 plus 128, I can't use byte, because byte range is up to 127. In that case, I can use short data type. So short. For example, I will use 345, 345. Okay, simple. That is short. Now, next one is int. Double the size of byte is int. Okay, double the size of byte is int. 32 bit. Same, minus 2 power 32 to sorry, minus 2 power 31. Sorry, 32 means okay, minus 1 we need to do. That's correct. So here also same. I think it is 2 power 7 in that case. In this case, 2 power 15. Okay, so 2 minus 2 power 31 minus 1, including 0. So see that range here. So minus is here, guys, don't confuse. I think during word wrap it has happened like this. Minus is here. See, it's now a bigger range. It is millions, right? It is millions and billions now, if you see. Okay. Similarly, next one is double the size of int. Okay, long. So let me write int, my int. So because it can store billion, let's say something like this, no problem. Okay. Now, next one is long. Long is double the size of int. Double the size of int, 64. So minus 2 power 63 to plus 2 power 63 minus 1. Okay. So that is the range. Now see, minus here again, minus here. See, it even in trillions, right? It is in, it is not even just in trillions. It is multiple trillions also. Okay. So that is how it is. Okay. So this is how it is. Now if you see, now this is the reason we have 4 different data types. So to store zero value, don't take this guy. Why? Reason being, to store 0 you just require 1 byte, but this is actually 8 bytes and you are wasting 7 bytes of memory unnecessarily, which is unused if you take data type as long for 0. Okay, that is how it is. So for example, my long equal to, but there is one thing here, guys. Remember, whenever you are using long data type and float data type, okay, we will see float what it is, you must suffix with l lowercase or uppercase. That's it. You may ask me, okay, that's a character. No, it will be ignored. It is just a reminder to compiler that I am using lowercase, I mean long data type. Why it is not only compiler, even for us also. Reason being, long occupies more memory. Whenever you have that, right, you also think, okay, really do I require a long here? So for that reason, they allow you to use L. If you remove that, you may see error. See, it's turned to red underscore, which is error here. If you see here, what it is, out of range, it is telling. Why? Normally for long, you should suffix with either lowercase l or uppercase L. So remember that L won't be considered while reading the data. Okay, L is ignored. It is only for the representational purpose. Okay, it is only for the representational purpose. Fine. All my integers also done. Next is float data type. Floating means, as I said, same thing, only difference is it will store decimal values. Remember here, it cannot store decimal values. And none of these 4 store decimal values. Even you give, okay, like this, you will see error only because your data type is integer, but you are telling store into decimal values. So it is not acceptable. Okay. So that's it. Even you store or you forcibly do it, it will truncate the decimal. That we will see. How do we convert decimal into integer, integer into decimal? That time conversions also will come. We will see maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow class. So like that, we will see that. Okay. Now float. Float is to store only data types which are decimal. For example, see this here, float, my float equal to f. For float also we need to have f, either lowercase or uppercase. Okay, and then we have double is this double the size of float. See, this float is 32-bit, I believe, and the double is 64-bit. See, 32-bit is as equivalent to long actually, but long stores only integer, but this can store only floater values. Okay, now double is double the size. This is the highest memory data type variable, guys. 64-bit. In primitive data types, this is the highest memory variable, 64-bit. Okay, so it takes the floating also, but it is a more size than that. For example, so my double equal to D. So long, float, double required either lowercase, uppercase, L, F, D to be suffixed. And remember, that won't be considered for your value. Okay, it is just for representational purpose only. That's it. These are all the floating data types what we have. Okay, you might see all the data variables are showing some warning here, right? Reason being, these variables we created, but we did not use anywhere. That is the reason it is showing. Okay, ID is telling, okay, you created variable you are not using. So what is the point? So that is the reason it is throwing us warning. Don't worry, we will use that variables later. And then next variable what we have is character. As I said, character stores any single character from this word, anything including the international characters. So it occupies 2 bytes of memory. Normally in C++ and all, character occupies only 1 byte because C++ used to support only ASCII character set, which is English based. Other languages not in C. Okay, but in Java it is not. It is 2 bytes, which takes even international characters also. How do we store date and currency? So date having a separate data type together. We don't discuss now. That will come as a separate topic for us in the Java, guys. Okay, date, calendar, that we will discuss as a separate topic. Okay, character, for example, I call it as my char. Remember, character always we store in single quote in Java. Single quote in Java. Okay, so for example, let's say Z. Now you may ask me, can I store my integer also as a character? Yeah, your 0 is also a character if you want to store, no problem. See that. Zero can be character, don't worry. See, no problem, accepted. Now remember, this 0 is not an integer value. It is just a one character. Okay, one character. It's not an integer value. Okay, so you can store it, no problem. Okay, only one character you can store in the character. That's it. So with this, if you see, we completed all the data types what we have in the table, right? But there is one more data type in Java which we normally use is string. Okay, string data type. What is this string data type is? We know, everyone know, string means what? Collection of characters, right? So you could use collection of characters as a string. And remember, this is not primitive data type. This is not a primitive data type. It is actually non-primitive object. Okay, but why we are discussing is for the benefit of the developer community, Java allows us to use this as a primitive data type, but internally it is not. It is non-primitive, it is an object. Reason being, string is a class in Java. Java itself has few classes, internal classes. So such class is a string. Okay. So the classes which contains by Java are called as inbuilt classes. Java inbuilt classes. So one such is string. Normally, to create a variable, we use class name. Okay, that is the reason it doesn't turn to purple if you observe. String did not turn to purple. Reason being, it's a class in Java. It's not a reserved word. But because this class is available, we can't use this as a data type also. So that is also there. Fine. Normally, how do we create is, for example, let's say I want to store a name equal to new string value. This is how normally we used to give. For example, let's say John. That's it. This is how we can use. But every time you no need to do that, Java actually allowing us to use. Don't do that. I will do internally for you. You just say string name, directly give the value in double quote. That's it. That's it. So remember, this is non-primitive data type. Though it is non-primitive, we are discussing here. Okay, reason being, this is also common data type which we use. String to store collection of characters. Okay, so how big this can be? You can store hundreds, thousands of characters string with this. Not only that, actually, string means don't think it is a word, guys. You can have even multiple. For example, stu intro, student intro, for example, let's say, okay, one string. Now we can say simple. Okay, I've written a text itself, a word itself, or phrase itself. We can write multiple words, phrases, anything you can write. But in character, you can store only one character. You can't say, okay, I will use 2 3 characters within it. Not allowed. See error. Okay, so character only one, but string can have. But remember, string is non-primitive. But though non-primitive, we are using like a primitive data type. Reason being is internally it automatically does for you. So it makes life easy for the developer not to create every time object like this. It just say string data type and then okay, it automatically internally does the job for you. Okay, so this is what about the data types what we have, including the strings. We completed the data types. Now fine, what I do with this? So at least let us print, because I don't do any calculation as such. Let us print it. Very simple. How to print in Java is, there is class called system, starts with uppercase, okay, dot system, sorry, dot out, output, dot print line, print ln. There is print also, which won't print in line. It print continuously, but I don't want to print in line. So that way print line. For example, first variable is my bool. Okay, you can directly print that variable here. That's it. Now you see my bool error gone. Why? My bool you have used. See, warning it was there earlier, not error, warning. Right? This warning has gone now. Why? You have used this, you declared and used this to print. So you have used at least once, so that warning has gone. Okay, fine. What it is? Boolean, right? So I will give Boolean. Remember here, while we are using print statement, you could use whatever be the message you want to display in double quotes as a string, like this, in double quote, and you append that string with plus. Plus is to append your string with a variable or value. Okay, so this syntax is allowed for print statement. So here it's a boolean variable, right? So I just given boolean. Okay, just say colon. So everything you write within double quotes will be treated as a string. It won't perform any operation. It print as is. Plus means concatenation. It will get the value of this variable. Here I'm used variable only directly. I did not given in my double quote. If I give in my double quote, it will also treat as a string only, not as a variable. Okay, that is it. Similarly, I will repeat this for other data types also. My byte, I will say byte, and then I have short, my short, and then I have int, my int in data type. Okay, and then I have long, my long. Okay, then what else I have? I have float, double, char, and string. So 3 I required: float, double, char, and string. 4 I have, 4 more. So this is float, my float, double, my double, then I have character, which is my char, and then I have string, right? What is the string I given here? Name. Okay, name. This is string type. Similarly, I have one more string which is multi words or a phrase to intro. This is also string type. That's it. So I've just printed all of them. Really, whether these values are there for this in the memory or not. Simple. Okay, now you see all the warnings have vanished here because all of them we used except this guy. That's fine. So we did not use that. That's fine. So now let us print. Okay, we will see whether really those values are retained or stored in the memory for them or not. Okay, here there is a, okay, now see, boolean true, byte 15, short value 345, integer 986866, long, float, see it did not display with f. Reason being, as I told you in our program, that is representational purpose only. So actual value is this only. See double, why this displaying like this? Okay, see double coming as double value, what I given is a big value, right? But it is coming like this. Why it is see this here, observe this here. It is displaying in scientific format. Whenever a bigger values are there, it may display in a scientific format, but it holds the same value. Okay, for example, let me make it little shorter. Okay, it might display. So whenever, even still it is going scientific. Okay, let me change it little more. See, now it is. So why it is both are same. The display whatever we had earlier was a scientific display which has the same value, but now here actually it is. Why it is based on the number of digits and the number of decimals, it automatically adjusts. Okay, based on the number of digits and number of decimals, it automatically adjusts. So that is how it is showing that like this. Now if you see, fine. And character same, and string only one string here. Okay, or one word here, but here is multi words. Okay, so this is how we can have variables and data types. Clear? So every variable you declare must be associated with a data type. Default value not mandatory, as I said, but we are declaring within a method, so we need to have default value. So that is the reason I have the same values I printed. Simple. Clear? Any questions so far, guys? Nobody
There is
asking.
any shortcut with the system println?
The next one I forgot to tell that. Okay, just type CISO, okay, and
Hmm.
control space. CISO and just CISO, type CISO and use control space in your computer. It automatically expands like this. Okay, just give me a second, guys. My charge is drying. Let me check. Okay, any questions, guys, so far? Easy, right? Anybody still feeling difficult? Okay, I see 4 questions. Let me answer. Hasina, I got this. I got only this week material, not documents for installation. Hasina, there was a link provided in the last session. You did not get?
No, I did not attend the yesterday's
Okay,
class.
guys, can somebody just paste that link, documents link in the chat, please? Whoever has. Okay, Kriti, how does it know student is one word or number is another word? See, it is not knowing to anyone. It is for our notation only, Kriti. Okay, so we can give whatever be the notation we want, no problem. Okay, but it is for our notation only. For example, STU know if you see together, you understand it is student number, right? So that way. So but for computer it doesn't matter, because computer stores them in a memory location. So that location name will be assigned to your variable name, so it doesn't matter. Okay. And then how do we store data on I already explained. So data and currency values are stored separately with a data types. Okay, so right now we are not going to discuss date. Yes, date we will see in our I think last topic is dates only in our Java. Okay, so that we will see.